I think this vlog is going to be a vlog of me spiraling about whether I should shelf my work in progress or not. No matter how many manuscripts you write, there's always going to be like slight differences that make you question your sanity. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Ari. I'm an aspiring author. I have a short story published that you can read linked to my website. And if you're not new here, welcome back to the video. I am getting ready to go out with some friends. We're going out to dinner and we're going to see Taylor Tomlinson, the comedian. I figure I would just give you guys a little check-in while I kind of touch up my makeup a little bit. I'm also just a monster. I apply all my makeup with my fingers. Come at me. I really wanted to finish Money Piece, but there's something going on with me where I just like, writing Money Piece right now is the last thing that I want to do. I don't know, just feeling really unmotivated to write it, if I'm being completely honest. And honestly, when I feel that way about something, like I tend to take it seriously because it's not just about like pushing through a lot of the times. I just don't think I like the story. Like, I don't think it's a bad story. I think just like right now, this is not a story that I feel like writing. That's fine. Doesn't have to be a story that I feel like writing, but the story is feeling just like a smidge uninspired. And I usually don't feel this way. Usually there's a moment in Act 2, there's many moments in Act 2 where I'm like, okay, don't love this. Like, don't feel like this is really where I want it to go. But a lot of the times, like once I push through and I feel that like emotional connection to my main character, like the story just kind of keeps coming and it usually just becomes more of like a non-issue. But like there's something going on right now with Money Piece. I'm not connecting to my main character in the way that I want to be. And that's actually kind of a problem. And so I don't know what the right thing to do is. I don't know, just a little bit of a struggle right now. For Money Piece, like the reason I want to put it away is like I'm just really not enjoying writing it right now. Or at least right now, maybe Money Piece just doesn't have the depth that I want it to have, and that's why I'm not enjoying it. Is like I'm not finding that like emotional thread that underlies the entire story. At this point in most books, like I connect. It's so funny because it's like no matter how many manuscripts you write, there's always going to be like slight differences that make you question your sanity. I think I'm just gonna work on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call for a little bit because it just feels really good. I have to go out soon, so let me just get dressed and show you the fit. One sec. I don't know where to put you guys so you can see my outfit. We got the wool coat. We got the flowy orange pants. This is a bodysuit, turtleneck. We got little high heel booties. I'll take some videos of dinner. I think we're gonna go to a really cute bar, get some food, get some drinks, go to the show. And then tomorrow I'm gonna, I think, go to Barnes & Noble again, or maybe go to like Starbucks or a coffee shop or something and work on the Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call outline. And I'll check in with you guys then. Okay. think this vlog is going to be a vlog of me spiraling about whether I should shelf my work in progress or not. I was able to vlog a little bit yesterday before I had gone out to dinner with my friend. I feel like it was the most chaotic like thought process, but I kind of just wanted to like distill down my thoughts because I've been thinking about it a little bit more. So I'm working on a contemporary fiction novel called Money Piece. It was a book in Preptober that I decided I wanted to start drafting in Nano because I wanted something fun, I wanted something new after I had decided to take a break from Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, which is my eco-fantasy novel, back in August because some life stuff happened. I think Money Piece was fun and it was entertaining, but I have just been having a really hard time kind of connecting to the characters. And it's funny because I was thinking about like why this book feels different. And I think it's because usually at this point, like I have connected to the characters and to like the core of the story. And if I haven't at this point, like that usually signals to me that there is a problem. In my last vlog, I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna finish the book, I'm gonna do my due diligence, I'm gonna do well by this project, and I'm going to finish the draft. I think there is a push and pull between the discipline of sitting down and finishing the draft, even if you're not enjoying the process, because like I've done that multiple times for multiple manuscripts. And then there's also the like, okay, maybe you should take a step back if you feel like you're pushing yourself to the degree where it's like no longer fun and it's no longer pleasant, and you might wind up burning yourself out by pushing too hard. There's such a huge part of me that like I'm so worried about not finishing a project and like what that would mean for me as a writer. But then I was thinking a little bit more, including Money Piece, I've written 5 manuscripts to different degrees of completion. Excluding Money Piece, I've written 4. There's an untitled manuscript that was like the first thing I've ever written, and I finished it. Like I'm never gonna revive it. It taught me so much that I needed to learn, but it's in the idea graveyard. Like I might recycle some ideas from it, but as it is now, like I'm not going to be looking at that book again and like reviving it in any way. There's Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, What If We Broke, and Honey and I. And out of those 4 manuscripts, the only one that I didn't finish fully was Honey and I. The reason I didn't finish Honey and I was because I realized that there was no central conflict to it. And that was actually a big problem. And so I decided to shelve it. And it's been shelved for a year now. My brain does kind of like work like subconsciously in this way where like I'm pretty sure I do know better what the central conflict is because I've let it rest. For Honey and I, because the fact that there was no central conflict, like that gave me a really good reason to not want to continue it until I better understood what the central conflict and the central through line was. To me, that was like such a concrete part of the story that I was like, you know what, like I don't think I can continue writing this until I have a better understanding and more insight into what the story is actually going to be. Now with Money Piece, I think I actually do know the central conflict, I do know the through line, but the things that are not happening is like I don't feel connected to the character, I don't know if I have a main theme, and I'm just not having fun writing it. And so you can see between those 2 manuscripts, like there's very substantial differences between the reasons why I contemplated like shelving them. And Honey and I, like I'm planning on getting back to it. Like I love that story. I think it's awesome. I think it's so fun. And if you're interested in learning more about Honey and I, I'll link a video that tells you a little bit more about the project. But you can see those are like very different reasons. Like Honey and I feel like it was because of the project. The project wasn't where I needed it to be in order for me to continue drafting it. Like I needed to do more development. But for Money Piece, it's a little bit more just like I don't think I'm enjoying it quite as much. That to me feels like a really silly reason to stop writing it, because to me I'm like, okay, like even if you're not enjoying it, like you should keep writing it. But at the same time it's like, am I just like spinning my wheels and wasting my time when like I could just go back to Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call and start like really drafting it and working on the outline now. I think I'm increasingly wanting to shelve it. Like I feel bad about it. And I feel bad about it because I feel like generally you hear this advice in writing spaces where it's like always finish your first draft, always finish your first draft. And I do think that that's really good advice. I do think that there may be reasons to not finish your first draft, like if you're having serious doubts about the story in certain capacities. And I feel like I'm having doubts about Money Piece, and I don't want to push myself to the point of having to finish it if I could go and like save all that energy and work on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, which is at a much further stage of development. So Money Piece
this is draft 0. Like, this is me telling myself the draft. Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, on the other hand, has a draft 0. It has a dialogue first draft, which is basically I went in and I rewrote all the dialogue scenes like a screenplay to better understand character motivations and interactions. And so it's much further along, and I feel like this energy to just dive into Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call and start drafting it really badly, and I kind of want to ride that wave, but I also just feel badly that I wouldn't be finishing the Money Piece manuscript. And I think part of the reason is because of that advice, like always finish your first draft. I feel like that advice is generally given to people who have a hard time like finishing drafts in the first place. I don't think I'm one of those people. Like, I think I'm actually a writer who finishes drafts. I have a 75% completion rate, excluding Money Piece, thinking about the 4 projects that I've written before. I finish most of my projects. Also, like Honey and I never planned on like never working on it again. Like, it's kind of just needed to simmer a little bit. For Money Piece, like maybe this is just one of the projects that I shelf for a little while that I come back to eventually. Really struggling with what I want to do about it, but I think for right now, I'm going to maybe for the rest of the December go with the flow, work on my Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call outline, work on Money Piece as I feel like it, right? For those of you who might be struggling with like, do I finish my first draft? Do I not? Like, here's just some advice for you. You can make yourself feel bad about not finishing something, but the truth is like, even if you don't finish something, like whatever you've done, whatever work you've done has not been wasted. Those ideas, those sentences, that brainstorming, even the writing itself has made you a better writer. And so just don't make yourself feel bad about shelving something or maybe like throwing something in the trash. It's all part of the process. I don't know. I'm like still conflicted about this. I'm not abandoning it. I think it's going to be shelved just like Honey and I was, and I'm going to come back to it at a certain point. But I do want to ride the wave of like, okay, I'm really excited to work on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, and I'm not connecting to Money Piece in the way that I normally am at this stage. So I do think it's a good idea for me to kind of like reassess the situation and reassess what I'm putting my time towards and my energy towards, because the truth is like that is the resource that is most limited, right? Like my time and my energy. If I want to be working on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, that still is getting me closer to an end point, right? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna, I think, go to a coffee shop, get some coffee, work on my Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call outline. So let's go get some coffee, write a little bit, and I'll check in with you guys soon. have made a decision about what I'm gonna do with Money Piece. I've spent the past couple days basically flip-flopping between Money Piece and Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call. Money Piece, when I sit down to write it, it really feels like pulling teeth a little bit, whereas like I have so much excitement and anticipation for working on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call that I think I'm gonna make the decision to shelve Money Piece for the time being. I've been so torn for what to do, but I do think I'm just gonna go with it. Like, if I feel like writing Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call right now and shelving Money Piece, it doesn't mean that I'm never gonna work on Money Piece again. It just means for right now, like, I'm gonna reprioritize and I'm going to work on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call right now. I think I felt so torn about it, but I think that this is the best path forward because I can spend the rest of December kind of prepping and outlining and really honing in on the vision of like a very clean and precise outline. You are so distracting. I think my next video is going to be me going into my outlining process and how I'm doing it in detail. Deciding to shelve a work in progress for me was a really difficult decision, but I do think that shelving it is the right decision for me. If you're going through something similar, like you were drafting something in the month of November and now in December you're not sure what you want to work on, you know, just take a minute. I feel like this vlog has actually been like maybe kind of helpful in the sense of like you can see how my inner dialogue is really like ping-ponging back and forth between what the right thing to do is. And I think the really important thing and something that I'm always going to try to promote on this channel is like I'm just going to show up authentically and I'm going to be really honest about the process. And so it's so funny and I feel kind of hypocritical because I literally like one of my last videos, it was like tips for finishing your first draft, and like here I am shelving a first draft. I think it's important to be kind to yourself, to give yourself grace, but also to like be very critically honest with yourself. For me, I really went into like, okay, do I have a hard time finishing first drafts? Like, no, that's not my issue. And so actually, like, I'm not going to push myself to finish this first draft because historically for all of my other manuscripts, like I've generally finished my first draft. But on the other hand, if let's say like you have a really hard time finishing first drafts and you shelve everything, like maybe it is really important that you do try to push yourself to finish it. For me, I have a really hard time with revision rather than first drafting. So if something feels wrong in the first draft stage, which is kind of what was happening with Money Piece, like that to me was a signal of like, okay, like maybe you need to take a step back, which I think is why ultimately I've decided to take a step back and then work on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call. What I'm really trying to say is just like take a minute and really think critically about where you're at, why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, what that might signal to you about your project. No matter what you decide, like be kind to yourself. We're all just doing our best. This is a goodbye for now to Money Piece, but not for forever. And we're gonna get started on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call. And I'm actually like so excited. I might do like a video call with Amina, Brielle, Andy, and Alyssa tonight. And we're gonna try to get some words in, which I'm really excited about. And I'm gonna work on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call. This is a new journey I'm really excited for. Like, I'm going to really try to get a clean draft one, which is exciting. There's a small piece of my heart that's like sad about Money Piece, but I know it's not forever. I know that book is not going to be shelved forever, and it's just for right now. And I think for right now, working on Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call feels like a good decision. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.